friends. Today we are bringing to you a fun little video. I've been in a reading rut. I'm reading so many 3 stars, which to me a 3-star isn't a bad book. I had a decent time reading it, but it's not like something that's sticking with me. It's not something I'm really liking. So maybe I'm getting a little burnt out from my usual genres. If you don't know, I primarily read thrillers and romance. And so in today's video, we're gonna give 3 books a try that are out of my comfort zone. What do we have here? We've got a nonfiction book. We have got Sociopath, a memoir by Patrick, I don't know how to say this last name, by this author. From what I know, this is about this author, and she has her PhD. So Patrick realized she made others uncomfortable before she started kindergarten. She suspected it was because she didn't feel things like other kids did. Emotions like fear, guilt, and empathy eluded her. Mostly she felt nothing, and she didn't like the way that nothing felt. She tried to pretend she was like everyone else, but the constant pressure to conform to society that spurned everyone like her was unbearable. So she stole, she lied, and she was occasionally violent. She became an expert lockpick and a home invader, all with the goal of replacing the nothingness with something. In a college psychology course, Patrick finally realized what set her apart. She was a sociopath, and even though the disorder was identified a century earlier, sociopathy had been neglected by mental health professionals for decades. She was told there was no treatment, no hope. She found herself haunted by pop culture sociopaths, madmen, villains, and monsters. Her future was grim. But when she reconnects with an old flame, she gets a glimpse of a future beyond her diagnosis. If she's capable of love, it must mean that she isn't a monster. With the help of her sweetheart, she sets out to become a therapist herself and prove that the millions of Americans who share her diagnosis aren't monsters either. So that sounds amazing, and I'm excited to get going with this. Then we have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This has been going very hyped, and it's pretty short. Oh my goodness, I don't know what happened to it. I accidentally folded the dust jacket. That's how it lives now. It was a book of the month pick for March, and it says Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica, home to the world's largest seed bank. Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with the sea levels rising, the salts are now its final inhabitants. Until during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. I think this is considered just fiction. Isolation has taken its toll on the salts, but they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength and begins to feel like she just may be what they need. Rowan, longed, accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone again. But she's not telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater. When she discovers sabotaged radios and a freshly dug grave, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storm of Shearwater gather force, they must decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late, and if they can finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new together. So it sounds very interesting. And then lastly, I have this book called Olivetti by Allie Millington. This was gifted to me by my friend Christy. It was one of her favorite reads of 2024. And this is a fiction book. Can we talk about how gigantic the text is? I also have the audio of this on Libby right now, so I'll probably listen to this. But this is a book told from the point of view of a typewriter. And can we talk about how beautiful this cover is? I think this is fiction leaning magical realism, possibly. I don't really know. But it says, being a typewriter is not as easy as it looks. Surrounded by books, notorious attention hogs, and recently replaced by a computer, Olivetti has been forgotten by the Brindles, the family he's lived with for years. The Brindles are busy humans apart from 12-year-old Ernest, who would rather be left alone with his collection of Oxford English dictionaries. Once a collector of words, now Olivetti only collects dust. He gets a rare glimpse of action from Ernest's mom, Beatrice, his used-to-be frequent visitor, only for her to drop him off at Heartland Pawn Shop and leave him behind. When Olivetti learns Beatrice has mysteriously gone missing afterwards, he believes he can help find her. He breaks the only rule of the typewriterly code and types back to Ernest, divulging Beatrice's memories stored inside him. Their search takes them across San Francisco, chasing clues, dodging the dumpster diving girl, maybe committing a few misdemeanors, As Olivetti spills out the past, Ernest is forced to face what he and his family have only been running from. The everything that happened. Only by working together will they find Beatrice, belonging, and parts of themselves that they have lost. Ooh, very orange, but sounds very interesting and very different from anything I normally read. So, with that being said, these are the 3 books we are going to get to in this video, and hopefully they pull me out of this rut. I finished this on audio yesterday. The audio was really, really short. This is actually middle grade, which is why the text is so huge, and that makes total sense. So in this book, we get 2 points of view. We get Olivetti, who is the typewriter, and then we get Ernest, who is somebody in the Brindle family, who this book is about. And basically, in this book, the mom of the family, Beatrice, she, in a hurry, brings Olivetti, her typewriter, to like a pawn shop and sells him for $126. Little does she know that typewriters can talk. They talk to each other by like pressing their keys, and they're not supposed to talk to humans. Well, shortly after that, Beatrice goes missing, and Olivetti thinks it's his purpose to help find her. So the other point of view is Ernest, one of the kids in the family, and him and the pawn shop owner's daughter, Quinn, set off to use Olivetti to find the mom. Olivetti starts writing back to them, and so on and so forth. And it was so cute, so good. I gave it 4 stars. There's this one quote, I don't like know it off the top of my head, but it was something to the lines of like, though you're in pieces, you're still worth saving. It hit 4 stars. So this is already off to a pretty good start with Mr. Olivetti. I actually did start a different audiobook I think I'm going to throw into this video, and that is an anthology collection. I did start this on audio. I'm about 30% of the way in, and this is All Is Found, a Frozen anthology. It has a bunch of different authors, and it is 10 like short stories in the Frozen world, and I've listened to the first 3. One of them is by Delilah S. Dawson. That's the only like author I know out of these, but so far it's been a fun time. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the stories being set in Arendelle with like our sisters, and getting more of like little, it's almost like, it feels like I'm watching a Frozen TV series where it's just like little episodes of like, here's what happens. Like the first one was about Anna, when they were kids, and Anna going ice skating. The next one was about Elsa throwing an engagement party for Anna and Kristoff. And then the third one is about they're going on this voyage across the sea, and there's this like sea monster, and Anna gets taken by the sea monster, and Elsa like teaches everybody that this creature is not a monster, and this is his home, and they're the ones intruding. And yeah, so far I am quite enjoying that as well. So I think part of my rut may be that I'm just sick of the genres that I read. So I'm going to listen to more of the Frozen book while I work today, and I'll check in when I finish that. I think I have Sociopath on my Kindle. I don't have Wild Dark Shore on my Kindle, so I'll have to read that one physically. So that'll be like a daytime reading, because I don't really like having the lights on when I read, so I'll need to read that during the daylight. Okay guys, the first 2 books in this video were a success. We had read Olivetti and All Is Found, and both of those were 4 stars. And now we're moving into Sociopath, which is either going to be 4 or 5 stars because it is a memoir, and I'm already thinking it's 5 stars. I did read like the first paragraph or so, and the first line of this book is, my name is Patrick, whatever the author's last name is. I looked up how to say it, now I can't remember. And I am a sociopath, and I think that's just such a punch of a first line. So I'm very excited to get into this book. It's Easter when I'm filming this. I don't know how much of this I'm really gonna read today, but I am excited to get into it probably tomorrow. But next up, we have got Sociopath. This is just in the introduction. Introduction. Representation matters. I offer my story because it illustrates the truth no one wants to admit, that darkness is where you least expect it. I am a criminal without a record. I am a master of disguise. I have never been caught. I have rarely been sorry. I am friendly. I am responsible. I am invisible. I blend right in. I'm a 21st century sociopath, and I've written this book because I know I'm not alone. Oh my god, I already love this book. I'm already getting 5-star energy. Reading genres I don't usually read. Okay guys, we are coming at you from my board game room because my husband's sleeping. We have finished Sociopath last night and I ended up giving this 4 stars. With memoirs, I only ever give them, basically, for my mental well-being, I can't not rate something because that will bother me. But I feel weird reading a memoir or anything lower than a 4 because who am I to judge somebody's life? The first 60% of this book was like a 5-star. It was basically about our girl, is this pronounced Patrick or Patrice? Or Patrick? Let me know. We follow our author in her journey as a kid. And then through like her college years, in like the first 60% of her like going through all of her bad behavior and the ways she was feeling or the ways she wasn't feeling. And how, like, I thought it was wild that her parents, like, her mom knew that, like, something was off about her and would, like, be horrible towards her and talk, like, she would overhear her mom talking about her, but never took her to see, like, a psychologist or anything. And I find that to be absolutely fascinating. And basically, she is in a college course about psychology, and the professor starts talking about sociopathy, and she's like, that's me. And then we go through her journey with that, and then the second half was dealing with like her different relationships with men, and that part I just found quite boring. So because I didn't love the last 40%, I did give it 4 stars, but I do highly recommend. And the next book we're going to jump into is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. And I'm excited. This is like classified as fiction and then thriller after fiction, which I find a very interesting combination. And I love that this is set near Antarctica. I just think Antarctica is so fascinating. So with that being said, we are going to jump into this. This is very short. It's like barely 300 pages. So hopefully we can read this one today. That would be lovely. I have dinner plans, but other than that, I'm not doing a whole lot this evening, so I think we should be able to sink our teeth right on into it, and I will try to give you an update halfway through. Genres I don't usually read: video. Okay guys, we are about 25% of the way through Wild Dark Shore, so I wanted to come at you with an update. I am not sure how I'm feeling about this. I will admit I started it last night and I was quite sleepy. I don't think I started it till past 10 o'clock. And this is like a very beautifully written book, like very intelligently written, very... Charlotte McConaughey is like talented in like the actual like writing of the book. There's one quote that I want to talk. There's like this whole thing about dandelions, and it says, "But the dandelion, the single flower that has given nourishment to countless other living things, is considered a weed." So we have a bunch of different points of views. We have got 4, I believe. We've got Rowan, the woman who has been like washed ashore, Dominic, the dad, Fen, one of the daughter, and like some of the chapters are literally this long. There we go. And Raph, the son. So basically there's another son named Orly, I believe, who doesn't have a point of view. He's the youngest one. But basically there's this island off of, it's called like Saltwater or Salt something, Shearwater. And it is an island, their last name is Salt. And it's off of Antarctica, and there used to be researchers there, but due to, I don't really know what, the researchers are no longer there. They have all left, and the island is basically disappearing, and so the salts are gonna be leaving in about 7 weeks. Due to some crazy storms, their power isn't working, they can't signal for help, and then this woman, Rowan, washes ashore. Rowan is harboring secrets that Dominic kind of knows what's going, like knows who she is, but he's playing dumb. And she's acting like she doesn't know what this island is. And I'm interested to see where it goes. My friend who I'm buddy reading it with actually finished it, and she's like, I don't think that it's a thriller. Because like, oh, I guess Orly does have point of view, so I guess everybody has a point of view. She says she doesn't feel like it's very thriller-y, and I think it's primarily classified as fiction on Goodreads, but we will see how I feel going forward. But as of right now, it's fine. It's fine. Not happy, not sad. Okay, guys, I am at 50%, and I have thoughts and I have feelings, and I have so many thoughts and feelings. I think that objectively this book is really, really good. The writing is very lyrical and metaphorical and beautiful writing, but like I prefer, like, this writing is like a castle, and I prefer a tent in the backyard. You know what I mean? Like I want not good writing, and I know that that's like really wild to say, but like I don't like like it feels like I'm reading a book for school. Like it feels very well written, and I love that for Charlotte and for everybody reading this, and I can see why so many people are frickin' obsessed. But I could not care less about the paragraphs upon paragraphs of botany. I really just don't care. I'm personally not connecting to the characters, and there's like some things that are happening that I'm like curious enough to continue, and I can see why it's getting such high reviews. But for somebody like I prefer like Frida McFadden's writing, where it's like really like to the point, I'm telling you what's happening. That's more like what my brain can handle, and this is just, I don't think, for me. But I can see why so many people love it. It's one of those things where it's like I want so badly to be enjoying this more than I am. Like I just keep reading it and I'm like, well, maybe the next chapter I'll love it. Maybe the next chapter I'll love it. And I think I'm just like needing to accept that I probably am not gonna love this book, unfortunately. But that's where I'm at right now, and I'm taking a break because I am hungry. And then I will finish this tonight. I have 2.5 hours left. It's only 7:30, so there's that. Okay, guys, we have finished Wild Dark Shore, and I gave it 3 stars. This is actually the least successful book in this video, and it is what I thought I would like the most. The way I described this in my review on Goodreads and Fable is how I'm going to describe it to you. This book is filet mignon, but unfortunately I want McNuggets. I can see why everybody likes it, loves it. There were some parts that I was like tearing up and gave me chills, but overall, not for me. But we have read 4 books in this video. We started out with Olivetti, which was a middle grade magical realism video, that of a book that I gave 4 stars. Then we read All Is Found, the Frozen anthology, which I gave 4 stars. We read Sociopath, which was a memoir that I gave 4 stars. And then Wild Dark Shores, which I gave 3 stars. Which, what I have learned in this video is reading outside of your usual genres can sometimes lead you to serious bangers. And I am so excited that it was such a successful video. And I hope to do this again in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!